Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So, this is hopefully going to be a fairly cool video. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I got a message on Reddit from a subscriber, a person who I mentioned in one of the first videos, I think, either the first one or the second one, um, who is interested in changing careers and getting into technology. And based on some of the other videos that I've put up and their own interest, they're looking at a position at a performing arts school where they're going to go ahead and look at potentially getting a job and a sort of a help desk role. So first off, awesome. That's the perfect kind of gig. Second, send me a bunch of information and like this looks like a good gig. Like the I mean, I haven't looked at the conversion rates for the US dollar to the Australian dollar, but it seems like that's a pretty decent salary for that kind of role, which is nice. So I've anonymized a little bit, taken out the names and stuff like that. And what I want to go do is I want to take a look at some of this material and go over the sort of the information, the email that they sent me. So why is that not? There we go. Lagged for a second there. So we got an email here, and it says, "Hi Nick, I told you to follow up at some point. I'm going to skip through the parts where I don't have and sort of highlighted. So I'm going to skip over to the first piece in yellow. If it's possible, I'd like to get your advice about how to include CV and resume for a tech support role at a performing arts public government high school. Just to be really clear up front, I would really appreciate your advice regarding what to focus on with a CV and how to generally answer the screening questions. I don't want to take advantage of you by having you write up stuff for me." So, couple points. First off, this is a really good way to phrase asking for help. I am going to give you a little bit of a critique though, because asking for help and advice in technology is something that comes up a lot. And one of the most important things that you can do when it comes to asking for help, asking for people to assist you with things, and this is just sort of because of the nature of being in a tech support role, you're going to be inundated with questions all the time. So eventually what happens is you sort of develop a eye for good questions. And what's better than this, what would have been better than this, I should say, and this is, don't take this as, a negative comment or anything like that. But what would have been a better way to do this is to have tried. So have written your potential answers to those questions to the best of your ability. Tried to come up with a resume, and then sent that and say, "Hey, this is what I have so far. Could you look at this and help me and tell me if I'm going in the right direction?" Even if it's just like a skeleton, like even if it's just a document and you've got, like a list of jobs and dates, and they're not really filled out or anything like that. It's always much easier to get people to help you with a problem than to fix something for you. Now, this is not fixing it for you. This is going to me for advice, but I thought it was something that kind of was worth pointing out because this was going in the right direction, but it could have gone a little bit further. And just something to kind of keep in mind in the future whenever you're going to anybody for advice. And this goes not just with the person who wrote in for the question, but for everybody in sort of general. Really, regardless of your career, it's a really good skill to sort of to try to manifest in yourself, is to get as far as you can and then have somebody help you sort of get it over the hill, as it were. So, one of your advice regarding what to focus on with the CV and how to generally answer the screening questions. I didn't want to take advantage of you by having write up for me. And then the pre-screening questions. Right. So first one is outline your experience in managing challenging workloads and competing demands and technology support role, 300 words. Describe the steps you've taken when you have supported another person to use a technology device or application. And then they give a link to the job posting. And they go on to say, so my main issue is that I don't have any official experience in a tech support role as a job. And then a little bit later on, they go on and sort of talk about the different technologies that they've been using and playing with and all that good stuff. And then say, I also really enjoy fixing computer problems and talking about computers generally, which is the autism ADHD effect. So this person earlier in one of the videos, in one of the sort of the comment threads on the R Linux admin group, expressed a lot of interest in this because I specifically mentioned that autism was quite common in the tech sector. Right, so this person is on the spectrum, and that was something that they said, "Oh wow, this is cool. This might be something that would be a really good fit for me," because interpersonal skills are obviously super important generally, but there's sort of a level of understanding that you'll see oftentimes in tech companies where people will sort of look at a person and sort of balance out the sort of benefits that being on the spectrum give you versus the sort of negatives, right? So anyway, so then they give a great example. This manifested in my previous role as a temporary teacher, where I tried to get my faculty to transform away from an email workflow to something that was like Slack, Microsoft Teams, even doing a presentation on the latter in my second term, which was before I quit due to stress, autism, burnout. So, all right. So just to review, the pre-screening questions are outline your experience managing challenging workloads and competing demands in a technology support role. So obviously you don't have a professional technology support role, but one of the things I'm going to look at shortly is they basically give you a PDF in this link that you can basically just build your resume from, which is amazing. I've never seen a job posting like this before. Like this is sort of like winning the lottery in terms of job posting. They're super clear in terms of what they want, so you can write a resume where it's like, wow, I just happen to be the perfect candidate. Outline your experience in managing challenging workloads. This does not need to be professional experience. What you want to do is you want to describe a situation where you have helped somebody with technology. This is going to be a help desk role, so there is going to be some interpersonal stuff. You want to come up with a story about a time that you helped somebody with a technology problem. This could be your grandma, and she was struggling with some computer stuff. I wouldn't necessarily use family in the examples, but if you had a family friend, if you had a family friend that maybe had a business that you had helped out with, or someplace that you had volunteered, or an organization that you were part of, and you had volunteered your time helping people, or even online. If you were, on the R Linux admin, subreddit, and you found people asking questions and you contributed and answered those questions, those could be potential things for answering this question. So the first thing I would do is I would just look at these two questions and I would try to go come up with an answer for those. Describing the steps you've taken when supported another person use a technology, device, or application. I think the example that you gave, where you saw this school, which is perfect because this is a school that you're applying to work at, having a problem with a technology workflow. And even though you weren't in a technology role, you presented a potential solution to what you saw was a problem. So I'm going to go jump over to the job posting now, which is over here. Let me kind of zoom in on this. So hopefully this is kind of a little bit easier to see. Talks about the school, talks about the role, talks about the Department of Education. What I would do is I would open up WordPad or Notepad or whatever you like taking notes in, and I would just pull out one or two things in each one of these sections that you can potentially think about addressing, and these would be really good for your cover letter. So future focused learning, regular use of technology as a tool for learning. Awesome. Role involves working with staff and students, right? So staff and students. Part of the New South Wales, I'm guessing, Department of Education, early childhood and secondary school, delivering work class communication, providing funding, develop and support teachers, leaders, and staff deliver something. Maybe something about the Aboriginal peoples. Continue on diversity stuff. Any pre-screening questions? And they emphasize that like you have to fill out these pre-screening questions. What this says to me is that a lot of people apply for this job and they don't fill out the pre-screening questions. So it's a child-related role. So, if you had an example of a time that you helped a kid with a technology problem, that could be pretty cool here. So you're definitely going to make a note that these are things that you want to provide as part of your application. Have those ready. Have those as part of the thing that you're going to go send them. And then, information about pre-screening questions. These are what you mentioned before, and so forth and so on. Right. Now, this is the biggest piece. This is the biggest piece. I've crossed it out because obviously it's somebody else's personal information. But they give the name of the contact of the person who's hiring. So this is not just a like, hey, we can go ahead and apply online. So yes, there is an apply online button, and you're going to do that because that's how this is, set up for you to go apply. But what I would also do is send that person an email. They have their phone number on there as well. I mean, you could even potentially call them up, but I would probably give them an email. And the way that I would find that email is I would look up the school, right? They have the school website. I would try to see if that person was just listed on the school. They might even just have their email address. If not, they have their first name and their last name. I would look up their email convention. So maybe they probably have the principal or somebody like that listed on the school. And they will have their convention. Maybe it's first name dot last name, maybe it's first initial dot last name, whatever it is. You can then say you apply online and then you send them a quick note. You don't make it really long, you make it kind of short. Hi, I just wanted to let you know I submitted an application online. I'm so excited. This seems like the perfect role for me. I love kids. I worked at a school before. Not in a help desk role, but I love technology, and I think this would just be absolutely the perfect fit. And I really, really hope that you look at my application. Here's a link to another copy of it. Set it up on Dropbox or OneDrive or whatever you want to go use, Google Docs, anything that you can. Just have them make it really, 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 really easy for them to know who you are and give you the job, right? So that's amazing that that you just have that person right off the bat. So the next thing is this over here, where they have a PDF that goes over the job description. So it has more information, primary purpose of the role, providing school with support of information communication technology systems to ensure a smooth day-to-day operation. So that sounds like a key phrase. If you could figure out a way to get, smooth day-to-day operation in your, that's kind of a hard one to fit in, but if you could, sort of try to put something like that, maybe when you're talking about the presentation that you gave about how email was a problem, and you think that moving to Slack would be better, you could say that email caused all of these delays. We're constantly having communication problems, and I thought that Slack would have made our day-to-day operations go much smoother because we could communicate better. Something like that. Just fits right in. You're like, wow, this person is already thinking about how to make You want to, I mean, I know a lot of this is sort of, you don't never want to outright lie or anything like this. And this might be just sort of bending the truth a little bit. And that's okay. Right. So, so, all right. Key relationships, school principal, or appointed delegate, teachers, students, staff, and visitors. And then they literally just like receive guidance and instruction, feedback regarding performance. So teachers receive instructions, discuss, resolve issues. So if you could put something on your resume, or when you go and interview, talk about how it's really important for you to get clear communication, and when you're trying to figure out a project, to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because that's what they're going to want, right? So if you try to flip it around and you think about, all right, if I was trying to give somebody instructions, what would I want them to do? There you go. So students, staff, and visitors, you get to assist students, use of desktop computer hardware, corporate applications, support for user resolve problems, refer to calls for evolution, code of conduct stuff. All right, so you probably want to have something on your resume about desktop computer stuff. So most of the things that you mentioned in terms of technology were like Ubuntu server and Docker and firewalls, and those are all really cool. But what I would do is I would make sure that I had some stuff on there that it is going to apply to students. So maybe things that seem really obvious and sort of taken for granted, but things like Office 365, or email troubleshooting, Google Docs, stuff like that. So you're going to have your sort of normal skill stuff, and then you're also going to sort of try to tailor the skills that you have to make them sort of specific for the role that you have. So visitors, contractors, support the supply of computer equipment. So this role is going to have you dealing with contractors, even if it's not something that's necessarily in a previous job. If you have ever worked with contractors, if you've ever done anything with budgeting, that might be useful to put on your resume. And again, these don't necessarily need to be in a professional capacity. This could be for a club that you volunteered at. This could be for a group of friends. This could be one summer when you're helping your dad, put a deck in the yard, and you had to, work with, some construction contractors or something like that. I don't know. What you want to do is you want to sort of brainstorm as much as possible, and try to come up with like a 3 or 4 page resume, and then pare it down to maybe 1 page, 1.5 pages. But the idea is that you come up with stuff that's all sort of specific to your experience and what they're looking for. So role dimensions, decision making, right? So it would be good to have some experience listed on your resume about a time that you made a decision. So something that shows independent judgment, right? I think your story about that presentation does that. Make recommendations to supervisor. Well, same thing there. Improving customer services and business practice. So this whole paragraph you kind of have down from that presentation. As per department financial delegations, and then they literally just give you a list. And this was what blew me away, is that these are the personal attributes that we want. You display resilience and courage, act with integrity, manage self, values diversity. So these are always sort of hard to sort of put into a resume. But if you've ever been in any civic kind of groups, or maybe church groups or things like that, that might be something you could put in on the resume as like a non-work skill, or extracurricular activities kind of thing. Communicates effectively, right? So that's something that you might want to go put on the resume in terms of like, this is a thing that I did at a job. Commit to customer service, if you have an example of a particular instance where you went out of your way to help somebody, work collaboratively, you know, literally you can just go down this list and try to figure out a thing that you did, um, that sort of matches to that. And they just kind of go on and on. So I mean, it's amazing. So what I would do is basically I would use this as a map, right? Because you got to think about the fact that, like, if somebody is trying to hire for a role, and you come in for an interview or you submit the resume, when they get that resume, when they open it up, they want to think, oh, this is the person. I don't need to look at anyone else now, right? They want to hire you. So as long as you sort of give them all the stuff, and then, when you actually go in for the interview, this is like a cheat sheet for the interview too, right? They're going to sort of ask you questions about stuff. Well, these are the things they're going to be trying to figure out about you. So this is phenomenal. This is sort of, specific to a particular person, and very few of you out there are going to sort of win the lottery in the sense of getting a job listing like this, where they literally just give you every single thing. But you can certainly try to go take some of the examples away from this. Look at the job description. Try to go find out who the person who's actually going to be doing the hiring is. See if there's a way that you can go reach out to them specifically, after you apply. Also, after you do interview, right? And also if they don't reply back to you, within like a week or two. So if they don't respond back to you within a week or two, try this. If they do respond to you, skip this until after your interview. But after your interview, send a postcard. And what I would do is I would literally just have this in my car, or just bring it with you when you went to the interview, and keep it in your bag or whatever it is. And then after you leave, find the closest post box and then drop the message in. You might bring a pen and write it after you leave or whatever it is. But basically, it's just going to be something along the lines of, I wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to apply at this job. I think that I'm a great fit, and this company would be an amazing opportunity that I would love, and I'm super excited about. Just sort of go on about how you'd be good for the job, and how they seem like a great group of people and a great company, and that you're very thankful for the opportunity. In the age of everything being digital, right? Someone getting a postcard is going to really stand out. And that's really what you want to do is you want to go above and beyond on the personal kind of level, especially if you're going to have some challenges on that front where you're, on the spectrum, because that's probably going to be a bit of a challenge in terms of being, personable and all those kind of things that can oftentimes be a stressful factor. So if you're showing them that, hey, I can do these kind of things, I can be not only personable, but above and beyond what most people normally would do, that could be really useful. So hope this helped. I know this was maybe a little bit of a longer video because we went through a good amount of stuff. But thank you for taking the time to watch it. If you liked this and you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Comments are always great. I'd love to see other things that you guys do when applying for jobs, or your techniques, if I missed anything, or if you have any kind of other suggestions for folks who are currently applying to jobs. That'd be phenomenal. Put those in the comment section below. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video next time.